welcome to my how to. Lots of you are finding this incredibly hard. I've got so many emails from you all today that I need to go through to help you. One of the things that has come out from all the emails I'm getting is a really common theme, that being on your own in isolation is heightening feelings of anxiety. And when you are feeling under any kind of anxiety, pressure, extra stress, then one little thing can just tip you over the edge. So I just want to reassure you that what you're feeling is totally new. It's totally normal. It's totally normal to be feeling a heightened anxiety about your breakup. It does not, and I want to make this really clear, it does not mean that you are doing anything that isn't normal. It doesn't mean that you are more upset than you thought you were about your breakup. It doesn't mean that you are struggling any more with your breakup than you were before lockdown. What it means is that you are just coping the best you can under a really tough situation, which is what we're all doing right now. So my heart goes out to you, and thank you for your emails in about how you are struggling. I have a first email that I want to talk about is about a single mum who is on her own with her son, and her son is only 3, so little. And she is extremely worried about what she would do if she gets sick. Now, this anxiety, on top of the fact that she is a newly separated single parent, the father is not interested at all and has gone off. So she has no way of sort of sharing the care with her 3-year-old son. And what she's worried about, she's put in, and I can see just how worried she is in her email. She goes into a lot of detail about what she's watching on the news about the hospitals, and that she's got friends who have been into hospital, and obviously the children can't go. Who is going to look after her son while she is in hospital? Now, obviously, this is a real worry if you are a single parent and you are on your own co-parenting and there's no backup plan. I mean, grandparents obviously are out of the picture at the moment, so they're not a reliable backup right now because they can't be. So this fear is going round and round and round in this lady's head. Her name's Claire. So Claire is really suffering. She's a young mum, and she is suffering a lot from this panic attack that she keeps getting, thinking about, well, if she gets the virus and she has to go into hospital, then who's going to look after her son? Now, again, this is a really valid fear. Okay, it's not something that she's sort of come up with and it's just not real. It is based on the real situation, the gravity of where we're at. So what I would recommend is that you have some kind of emergency plan, because it's not about worrying what if, because that will consume you. What we need to do is take our control back over the situation and think, okay, well, if this did happen, then what would I do? Because what you're doing that way is you're dialing down that anxiety and that fear, and you're facing it head on. So I often talk about those controlling negative emotions that we have that we will avoid. It's human nature just to avoid anything negative, instead of embracing it and saying, okay, well, how do I solutionize? So, for example, I've got other people who've written in worried about finances right now, not only due to the fact that they're going through separation, but that the divorce settlement is going to be massively undervalued now because of the drop in the markets. So they're worried about what life looks like because their divorce hasn't gone through yet, and they're just starting out. So where they thought they'd be is a very different reality to where they possibly will be now, especially with some of these partners' businesses are going under, sadly. So there's a lot of fear around anyway. And so with all these questions, I want you to face them head on. I want you to face that fear head on. So with this lady Claire and her son, what I'd recommend is have a think about somebody, a friend or a family relative that is young enough. I mean, you're very young yourself, so maybe your parents are able to help in this situation. But what I would say is have a think about who could take your son if needed, okay? Because the worry and anxiety which is causing your panic attacks is going to be down to the fact that you haven't got a solution. Whereas if you come up with a solution, it will just dial that down and enable the pressure to be off a little bit. But obviously, it is a real situation that a lot of my clients who are single parents, and a lot of you out there I know are single parents and parenting on your own. So what would you do? So, for example, do you have a friend who you could contact to say, look, if the worst were to happen and I had to go off to hospital, please could you come and collect my child, and have a bag ready or clothes or something ready so that you're not worrying about that, you know. So I think it's important to have a backup plan and not to be just sort of winging it, thinking, oh, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, head in the sand. Head in the sand is what humans do. It's what we all are wired to do. If something's worrying us, all distract ourselves, drink a bit more, don't think about it, watch a box set, don't actually get on and do something about it because it's just too scary. It's natural human emotion to run away from that. What I want you to do is to take your control back over it, because that's how you get your power back, and you stop giving your power away and being controlled by these fears that kind of chase us around. Okay, what we want to do is own it, and you take your power back over it. Okay, so we have to start a different thought process with it. Okay, how can I make this better? Okay, so the first step would be, let's have an emergency plan. So if something happened to you as a single parent right now, what would happen to your child? Where would they go? Who would they spend time with? Phone the people and have the conversation. Like, if I can't look after my child, would you be okay to do that? They may say no, or they may say yes. If they say yes, box ticked, sorted. If they say no, we've got to keep going. Okay, don't let that defeat you. Just say, okay, well, that's one person that said no. Who else could I ask? You know, there will be a solution out there. There will be somebody who is willing to step up and help you, who can look after you. Obviously, your child's very young, 3. So ideally, it would be somebody that they know, that they feel comfortable with, because obviously at 3, they can't really express so many emotions that are going on. And also the genuine fear that is going on around them. They're going to pick up on some of that without really understanding what that is. Here we go. Someone's written, the best thing I did was to sort out a will, life insurance and guardianship 4 months ago. Best thing I've done in the whole of my divorce, as it gives me real peace of mind. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you haven't got a will sorted out, please do. Guardianship, if something is to happen to you, where would they go? Life insurance, so you know that they've got, you can get life insurance relatively cheaply, but it just means that you do have that peace of mind. Now, if you haven't done that all now, please don't panic. But it is something that maybe you could do now. So you could speak to someone about creating a will, because a lot of lawyers are sat at home and they're also willing to negotiate on prices because they're desperate for the work. So maybe this is something that you could use your time now just to do a bit of preparation, just to dial down that anxiety. You know, and if you are speaking to people and saying, would you look after my child or my children for me if something happened to me? Then, you know, then you've got them as, you could ask them the question, you know, if something did happen to me, would you be my child's guardian? And just speak to people, figure it out. But I think having a plan will dial down. The panic attacks are part of what's going on right now, and everyone has their own way of dealing with stress. So obviously for Claire, her way is panic attacks. So she'll store it up, keep going. She's got a 3-year-old, very demanding, as we all know. But then it will come out in a panic attack. And a panic attack will be, you know, finding it hard to breathe, welling up, crying maybe if you can during not being able to breathe. And it really is a very scary thing to go through. I don't know if anyone here has experienced panic attacks. It's quite a common side effect of breakups. And when you suppress a lot of emotion because you have to, so as a single parent, you've got to suck a lot of stuff up these days, right? Your cook, your chef, your entertainer, your homeschooler, your teacher, your PE teacher, your entertainment, your loving, nurturing, your reassuring, your disciplining, you're doing everything. It's full on, okay? So, you know, when you've got to keep going like that, we suppress a lot of emotions. And sometimes, if that's the way you're wired, sometimes it can come out in a panic attack. You know, some people have never had panic attacks before and they only just started experiencing them. That's because we've got another layer of stress, remember, with the virus on top of the breakup. So there's a vulnerable Achilles heel there, which I know we've talked about in the past, and you put more pressure on with the reality of what we're all going through, and it will push you through. Sometimes your body reacts by panic attacks. So what can you do? Well, just try and just tell yourself that panic attack is normal and it will pass, okay? It will pass. If you can get someone on the phone that actually would be able to help you dial down some of those negative emotions, that would be good. Because even if they can't see you, if it's just audio, someone knows you need help and can reassure you. And maybe if you know you're having panic attacks, you can have a friend on speed dial say, when this happens, it's really scary. Can I call you? And can you just help calm me down or just be there for me? Because sometimes being on your own in isolation and having a panic attack is very difficult. So it's something that you may need, and it may help you if you had someone on speed dial, just so they could just know what was going on in advance, because otherwise they'll panic. Just tell them, I've been having panic attacks. Next time, can I call you and can we agree that you do this? Something that you know will calm you down. Sometimes just having that friendly voice saying it's okay, you're going to get through this, you're okay, it's okay, we're in it together. Those kind of phrases just help to calm the situation down. But make sure it is a friend who's capable to do that under pressure, because we've all had times where we've gone to a friend to help and they've done the completely opposite of what we needed. So make sure you spell it out. So you've got a plan, what will help you, and get that in place. Also, just obviously, if you are experiencing those panic attacks, don't worry about having a panic attack, because it will only happen when you get to a certain immense amount of stress. How you can dial down even that build up, it's why please reach out to me. I'm so glad Claire emailed me in, but these sessions I'm doing for free are really to help you dial down that anxiety. So if you've got any questions, anyone that's watching me, do drop me a question so that I can help you. I know what it's like to go through a hideous breakup. I know what it's like to deal with rebuilding your life from scratch. I know what it's like to be at absolute rock bottom. I also know what it's like to be a single parent, deal with conflict, heartbreak, all sorts of things. So that's why I do what I do. If you do have questions, please do drop them on here so I can answer them specifically for you. Okay. Now, those of you who have emailed me in talking about emotions and how to manage those negative emotions, there's lots of things you can do to sort of stop that build up so that it does result maybe in a panic attack, if that's your body's way of coping at the moment. And these things are very simple, just getting out there and exercising, moving your body. It doesn't have to be something that you dread. It could just be like a nice walk. It's such a beautiful day today here in the UK. Wherever you are, just getting outside, taking some deep breaths, walking, just a brisk walk, something to speed up your heart rate, to open your lungs up so you can take some deep breaths of fresh air would be great if you can. If you live in a city, that's going to be slightly harder. But see what you can do just to change your physiology, because changing your physiology is the fastest way to changing how you feel up here. So, for example, 5-star jumps will instantly change how you feel. And you don't have to be good at star jumps. They can be kind of like chicken wing shuffles. Just something that changes your body state will massively change how you feel. So those, just doing little things at different intervals throughout the day will definitely make a difference to you. And this is what I'm saying. Don't let it all build up. It's all about maintenance. It's about maintaining how you're feeling so that it doesn't build up to that point where you are having a panic attack. So it could be making sure you get that FaceTime contact with those friends or those family members that you're missing right now, and giving them virtual hugs and like kissing the screen when they're on. It could be getting that connection from them that way, which is a really positive way of doing things. It could be playing games with fun games. Get those silly games that you play at Christmas out, like Rapido, or the thing where you stick the post-it note on your head and you have to guess who it is, and play that with friends virtually if you're on your own. Do silly things that make you laugh at different intervals throughout the day. Just doing things that you want to do to make you feel good. Because the more you do that, the more you're building your resilience, so it doesn't get to like volcano explosion level, that you can keep maintaining it as you go. So I think it's really, really important that you do those things. Now, for those of you who've emailed in to ask me about your divorce process, obviously I don't give legal advice, but what I can say is that now is the perfect time to get your ducks in a line. So I'm just looking at some of the emails here. So I have a specific one about somebody who's asking me what to do because they believe their net worth has dropped massively. They do want to start a divorce. They were discussing it before, but now they're in lockdown together. What can they do? So I would suggest that you use this time to get your ducks in a line. So what do I mean by ducks in a line? You need to do the prep. Okay, so I had a client on this earlier today, and she was asking me exactly the same question. What I would say is there are things you need to do that are just admin jobs before you get a divorce. So you'll need to go through and work out what your net worth is, what your assets, what your liabilities are, what your budget is every month. So what do you spend on insurance, all those things, really super important. So if that is something that you are thinking about doing, use this time to gather bank statements, information, get it all together. And I would take legal advice, because there are lawyers that are willing to do deals at the moment, which doesn't happen very often, let's be honest. So, just get even half an hour's advice on what you would need to get ready, so the admin behind, so that you're ready to push forward when lockdown is over. So these things can save you a lot of time. Instead of watching box sets, you just crack through some of that paperwork. It won't take you that long, 2 or 3 hours maybe in total, but just go through and get those things sorted out so that when you are ready to get out, you can power forward without having to then go back and do all the legwork. So I think that's really good advice for people that are feeling a bit stuck right now. Also, we've got somebody here who is in a very difficult situation at home with her ex. So domestic abuse comes in lots of different formats, guys. It comes in lots of different formats. So I'm honoured to be the patron of a domestic abuse charity called the Dash Charity. We have refuges, so homes for women and children to escape to get out of domestically abusive relationships. Obviously, there's only something like 4,000 refuge places in the entire country. And given that documented statistics show that requests to helplines is up by 150% right now on domestic abuse helplines, what's going on underneath that is that there's a lot more people that can't reach out for help. I've been contacted by lots of people saying, I can't watch your videos, Sarah, because I'm in a house and I don't want them to know my questions are about abuse. Abuse covers physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, any kind of abuse. Where you are being isolated from partner, maybe you are from friends and family, maybe you're being put down, maybe your confidence is taking a knock. There are so many different coercively controlling tactics which go under the radar so often. So just because you don't have a bruise, it's a very common misconception. There's no bruises, you think, oh, well, it must be me. No. Coercive control is a very subtle, very manipulative way of controlling you, which is abuse. And I am going to be doing some webinars about this. So if you are in that situation, then do try and find a way to watch the webinar, because I think it will be very helpful. In fact, if any of you would find that helpful, please do pop down how I can make it more relevant to you so that I can make sure that I really give you what you need from the session. So if you are in one of those lockdown situations with someone that's not very kind to you, please stay safe. That is the number one thing right now. You must make sure you're safe. And how do you do that? Well, obviously you can't control someone else's behavior, but you can control your behavior and how you react to situations. So if you know that if you react, if you stand strong, if you put your point across, it's going to heighten tensions and heighten your risk, then don't. You've really got to be, and obviously without risking your safety, but this is to protect your safety. So if you can be as compliant as you can, going along with maintaining the peace as much as you can, then that is going to keep you as safe as possible. So that would be my advice right now. Number one, reach out to the charity hotlines, ring the domestic abuse helpline, reach out to get help from experts, professionals who you think can, and call the police if you think your life is in danger or that you're scared, because that is important, but only if it's safe to do so. Because sometimes having the police come around and tell your partner exactly what you said to them is obviously not going to be the best way around it. If there are really difficult situations, then you do need to reach out for help somehow. So there are some code words that people are using. So for example, if you sent me an email and said that you were wondering that you'd like to know more about my, shall we come up with something? So just say if you are in need of help, then email me, sarah@sarahdavidson.com, and say that you are interested to find out more about my online retreat in August. And if you send that, then I will know that there is something that you need help with. Okay, and I can make sure that I can help you and send you some contacts and some numbers to help you. Obviously, I'm not the best person to reach out for in those situations, because there are specialist lines that help people with that. But if it's difficult to reach out to them, maybe you can do it through me, then absolutely do. And I will forward it to people that I know that work on the front line, key workers that can help you. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any other questions about your breakup, then please do let me know, because that's why I'm here. And I'm here to give you as much help as possible during these really tough times. If there is any kind of support or questions that I can answer from you, then please do drop them in an email to me, sarah@sarahdavidson.com. That's DAVISON, just one D, and send them to me, because I am answering them every day. And I will do my best to give you as much support and advice as I can to get through these really tricky times. I am here every weekday at 2 p.m. to answer those questions. I have one more question I want to fit in, and that's about my self-confidence has taken such a hit. So this is Lou, and she's gone through a breakup, and it was 6 months ago, but now she's gone into isolation. She's left alone with her thoughts. What she had been doing is keeping herself super, super busy, so that she was out every night, she was drinking, she was going partying, she's taken up a new dance class, and she really liked the social aspect of that in the gym that she went to, and she was feeling good about life. And now all that's been stripped back. Obviously, the dance classes don't happen, the gym is shut, all those things have stopped. So how can she cope? Because now she's left alone. What she's feeling is that her self-confidence and her self-esteem is really at rock bottom right now. Now, if your self-confidence and self-esteem is at rock bottom, then what can I do to help you? Well, first of all, you've got to look at the things that are upsetting you about yourself and where your confidence is low. Why is it low? Now, for Lou, it's because she was rejected by someone that she really loved. And she thinks her belief in her head is that nobody will ever love her again. Now, that is what I call a limiting belief. And a limiting belief is a belief that we have, that you hold on to, but it holds you back from doing things. So what it means for Lou is that she's been on dating sites, but she hasn't wanted to, she hasn't wanted to chat to anybody. Now, the interesting thing is, she says her limiting belief is that no one, well, she doesn't say it's her limiting belief. I'm telling her it's her limiting belief. So your limiting belief is that you believe that no one will ever love you again. So what we do with beliefs like that, and we all have them. So what's yours? What's your limiting belief that holds you back? Okay, because we all have them. So it might be that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you'll be on your own for the rest of your life. Lots of them, I hear them every day in my clinic. So let's take your limiting belief. I'm going to use Lou's here as an example, but put yours into that. So Lou believes that no one will ever love her again, and she's not attractive. So that is really an interesting, because that is the belief. Now we have to look for the evidence to disprove that. Now, Lou, there is, because in her email, she details to me the different guys that have been chatting to her since isolation on the web, on the dating apps that she's on. So she is getting guys commenting on her, liking her, matching with her. So that disproves that no one will ever love her again, because there are people showing interest. She feels she's unattractive. Again, people are showing interest. Okay, and there's another one here. I can't make a success of my life on my own. Okay, that's an interesting one. We're going to come to that in a second. So you take your limiting belief, and then what I want you to do is find evidence that disproves it. Okay, it's almost like a table. So you have your tabletop, which is your limiting belief. So I can't make a success of my life on my own. And then you'll find that you have built up reference points underneath that support it, like table legs. And what we want to do is knock those table legs away so that belief goes away. And at the moment you fully believe this, because that's what you're hanging onto, and that's what you're wrapping your identity around. The interesting thing is, I can't make a success of my life on my own. Okay, well, what proof do you have that you could? You don't have to, it doesn't have to be earth-shattering, but what proof? People tell you you can, your friends say you can, I'm telling you definitely can. And we're all responsible for our own life. You could look at it in a way that the reason that you feel like that is because you've been in a toxic relationship, which has meant that being in a toxic relationship, you cannot make a success of your life when you're in a toxic relationship. But if you're out of that toxic relationship, you're in a new situation. So now, how about shifting that belief? So whatever your limiting belief is, I want you to come up with a new, more empowering belief. Like, for example, my life is a success. Now, you may not believe that right now, I know that. But I want you to shift your focus from repeating the same thing over and over again, which is doing what? It is programming your brain. What you're doing is you program your brain with the words and the phrases and the questions that you're asking it. So what I want you to do is swap that limiting belief for something else which is more empowering, and just think of it slightly differently. So now I'm on my own, I am able to be as successful as I choose to be. That's another more empowering belief. I can be as successful as I choose to be, now I'm single. Because when you're in a toxic relationship, or in a relationship that isn't pushing you forward, like I was in a relationship a while back with a lovely guy, but I knew that being in a relationship with him was not enabling me to move my career forward, because he didn't believe necessarily in the coaching side of things. He thought it was all not really that relevant to the world. And that's my passion, as you can tell. So when I came out of that relationship, lots more opportunities opened up. But actually, your belief here, I can't make a success of my life on my own, is actually the opposite. You can't make a success of your life when you're in a toxic relationship with someone that doesn't fully support you, or when you don't feel fulfilled or loved. It's much harder to do it that way, like going against the grain. Whereas when you're free to make your own decisions, to trust your gut instinct, to be who you want to be, to become who you want to be, suddenly you're in the driving seat. Suddenly you don't have the, oh, you can't do this, you mustn't do that. You don't have the restrictions. You're not told what you can and can't do anymore. Suddenly you're free to own your life. So can you see how that limiting belief is actually just not true? I know that you may not feel as empowered as you need to be right now. You may feel that you don't have all the skills right now to become as successful as you want to be. But again, don't look at that as, to be successful, I've got to be at the top of the mountain and I'm down here right now. So you're looking up going, oh, this is overwhelm, this is stress, this gap between where you are and where you think you need to be. But actually, it's all about the journey. Just taking one step forward. You're being successful, you're moving forward. By being on this call, you are moving forward. You're feeding your brain with more empowering information, with different strategies to get yourself a new limiting, a new, more empowering belief, to get rid of that old one. So all you need to do is write that down, your new empowering belief. I am a friggin' rock star, or I am the creator of my own destiny, or I can be as successful as I want to be, or I am successful right now just being free. You know, I am now open to opportunities to be more successful. I see, my goodness, that's so true. I couldn't, because of the toxic marriage I was in. Exactly. A lot of us think that we come out and think we're less than. Actually, what we've done is we've literally kicked the door down of all the restrictions in our life. We've got rid of them, but because we've come out and we're so fragile from what we've been through, we don't see it. But actually, you've got your freedom, you've got your ownership, you've got the controls back over your own brain, your own life. You can start to make decisions. Now, I know there may be ties still, but then, you know, that you can't worry about those, but you are out of that toxicity, which means when you get out, even just dipping your toe outside of that, you will see so many more opportunities. And that's what I want you to focus on. I want you to see this for what it is. It's your ticket out of here is creating that success in front of you. You know, when I got out of my toxic relationship, I didn't get to being where I am now in one jump, you know, and you never feel like you're at the top of the mountain anyway. You know, you just don't. So you always feel there's more to go, more to go, more to go. So how I find it's important to look at things is one step at a time. Chunk it down, not to be, I can't be successful. It's like, okay, well, what is success to me? What would I want more of? It's about doing a bit more of that focusing. What do I want? Who do I want to become? What do I want to feel? Who do I want to be around? What do I want to have in my world? What do I want to be focusing my attention on every day? These questions, if you're asking yourself these better questions, they're taking you forward each day, which is success. Because if you think about where you were imprisoned, now you're out. So every step forward is rebuilding your life and taking you further up that mountain. And that mountain's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you get higher and higher and higher, because there's always going to be more to achieve, or more to dream for. And it's not about striving for something you're never going to get. It's about setting realistic goals to keep growing. Personal growth is really important. Personal growth and stretching yourself to achieve and be more is part of how we grow as human beings, and actually really key to our sense of fulfillment and well-being. So I hope that has helped. Has that helped their thoughts _health? I hope it has, because actually, you know, these little questions that you're asking, and how I can show you just how a shift in your thinking can open up new doors, new avenues, new ways of being you, and just embracing what you have, being grateful for what you have, and saying, okay, I am where I am. The future is ahead. It's mine for the taking. What do I want? It's important to work out what you want before you just start galloping ahead. That's why I'm saying take some time to think about your breakup bucket list. What could you do now that you could never have done before? Because then you've got something specific to aim for. And then you can change it, and things might evolve. There might be other things that come up as you go along. All these things are important. But have a plan. You know, even if you just change the plan. Doesn't matter if the plan's completely wrong. You know, the first plan I started out with was not the plan I'm doing now, but it got me going. And then I met some people, and I read some books, and I did something differently, and I thought about things in a different way. And then I thought, actually, I want to go over here. And then I thought, no, I'm going to go back to that. And then I'm going to go forward. Do you see? It's not You don't jump straight up. You zigzag around with experience, with opportunity, with support and love from other people that are there to help you along the way. It's something that I really train in with my coaches, the people that come to me to want to train to become breakup and divorce coaches, because they think, oh gosh, I've got to be where you are, Sarah, straight away. And I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's about you go on your own journey, tap into your own strengths. What do you want? Because, for example, if you've got a passion about something, and one of my coaches is an amazing lady, and she's overcome cancer, and she is now using the breakup coaching that I'm teaching her, along with coaching people going through cancer, and combining those two to help people, because that's her passion. And she was like, oh, I don't want to just do this or this. Don't do just one thing or another. Do what feels right for you. So she's combining this into this package of survival techniques to get through any traumatic, tough time, specializing in cancer and breakups. So it's just so powerful, because it's powerful to her and it's her life experience. So think about what you want and design your life just the way you want it, because that is the golden opportunity that you now have in front of you. That is it for the taking. So that's what I always talk about. You have the decision. Do you want to decide to redesign your future and get on with it and create something that's even better? Or do you want to drag your baggage of your past relationship and all the scars that you have from it? And then, a lot of us have scars from our relationships, but they do not have to define you, and they certainly don't need to dictate your future. You need to own what's happening next. You need to see this as an opportunity to grab your life back and create whatever you want from it. And this lockdown, this isolation, is actually a positive time to be able to thinking about all these things, to be thinking about, what do I want? What do I want to become? You have to step outside of the confines of your old thinking. You have to say, look at that. Let's just step out and say, if I could design my future the way I wanted, what would it look like? You can always go back to the past and dragging the baggage around if you want to. But what starts to happen, I can guarantee you, is that you start to tip the scale from, that looks a little bit more exciting than this. Or I just want to go in and just put a little bit more color into that picture, because if I learned this skill, or if I did this, or if I spent more time with that person, or if I trained to do this in my life, or did this course or that course, or spent more time with my friend I haven't seen for years, I think I would feel happier. I think I'd be excited about my future. And then when you go back to, oh no, I can't achieve anything because I've had a tough relationship and I'm damaged by that, you think, oh, I don't want to be here anymore, because I can tip the balance, because you can. And I know that because I'm living proof of that. Because when I came out of my relationship, I was not who I am now. I'm not the person talking to you. I was broken. I had no confidence. So I put on loads of weight. I was really unhappy. I was an absolute wreck. And I had allowed myself to get into that position from a toxic relationship. And I will not allow that again. And I know that by taking your control back, you can turn it around. Yes, it is bloody scary. I'm going to give you that. But it's also very exciting to know that you are the master of your own destiny. You can create the future for you, because ultimately only you are responsible for your life. Only you. Your ex isn't, your friend isn't, your mother isn't. Yeah, they may want to help you, some people, they may want to support you, but only you are responsible. And I could have chosen the path of, oh gosh, my life is over, but I didn't. And I wanted to do something with that, to give back to life, which is, I think, is a really contribution, and helping others is a really strong way of powering through some negative emotions and feelings and getting back on track. So what can you do to turn your life around? Because it is all down to you. You are in the driving seat. You decide what happens next. And I really want to give you that gift of just stepping outside the confines of where you've been and how you've been feeling, to blow those doors off, to start feeling awesome again, to start getting excited about what life has to offer, because that phase is done now. That phase of that relationship is done. Those doors are shut behind. So now let's jump off that cliff and design it the way we want it to be. And let's enjoy the free fall of not knowing exactly what it is. Because if you step back into the confines of what you had, you know what it is, and you know it's bad. So why would we want to settle for that? We go, we've learned something, it's made me stronger, this is what I've learned. You've got to look back, as I've said in other sessions, I think we talked about yesterday, you've got to look back to learn from your mistakes. You've got to look back to build on what went wrong, so that you can learn as a person what your patterns are, so you're not repeating or attracting people who don't meet your needs. It's not just about meeting a partner that meets your wants, it's also about meeting someone that meets your needs. So actually the free fall of not knowing, enjoying the free fall of not knowing. You can't control everything, but you can design it and you can work towards something. And obviously there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be things that don't work out. People maybe you want to do something with, they don't want to do it with you. But, there's all sorts of things that happen. But actually, if you trust that everything happens for a reason and it serves a purpose, and you may not be able to see it right now, that reason, but with hindsight a bit later on down the way, you will see that clearly. You look back on past relationships, you think, gosh, when that ended, I thought my world was ended. But now I know why it's ended. I know it's ended because I was to live a better future. I was to live my better present now. I was to become a stronger person. Maybe I was going to help people. Maybe I was going to share my techniques for going through what you've gone through. Everyone goes through tough breakups and comes out with lessons. And friends may come and say, can you help me? Or it might be that you decide you want to specialize in that and help other people as a professional coach. But whatever it is for you, use those lessons for you and learn how you react, your strategy, so that you can go on and build an outstanding future for you, something you're really excited to live. This is about you. This is about you being back in the driving seat, you taking control, and you saying, you know what? For some of you, I know I've got I can't remember who it was who sent an email about revenge. It's not about revenge. Revenge will keep you stuck. Revenge keeps you focused on that rear view mirror. You might look like you're trying to move forward, but actually if it's all about revenge and getting back at them, it doesn't work. You need to cut it and let it loose. But to be honest, ironically, the best revenge is being happy, being free, moving forward, owning your own life and creating a future that you are in charge of and you drive forward. So I hope that's helped. I hope that has helped. I've gone a little bit over time today, but I think there's some really good questions. Thank you for popping your questions in and for your comments. I will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. to offer you some more advice. If you do have any other questions, do drop them to me, sarah@sarahdavidson.com. I am always happy to take your questions and answer them tomorrow. So if anything specific, do let me know and I will do my best to support you. I know we're all going through you're all going through the tough times. Oh, thank you. Your best life. Oh, and I know you've watched quite a few of them, so thank you. But yes, anytime you need me, reach out and I will do my best to offer support in my next weekday 2 p.m. session. Thanks, guys. Big hugs, big love to you all. Mwah. Stay strong and I'll see you tomorrow.